Hi, friends. This is Wendy Harrop, and welcome to the Say Yes to Yourself podcast. On the Say Yes to Yourself podcast, you'll hear stories from women just like us who are adding the practice of saying yes in their daily lives in big and small ways, and as a result, are experiencing the truth that everybody wins when you say yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself is a graceful unfolding, an intentional becoming of the very best version of you. It is my hope that in these conversations, we are able to find our truth and be inspired and empowered to live our very best lives. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you, and I look forward to finding a bit of our own story in each other's.
Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm thrilled to have you here and absolutely over the moon to share today's conversation with you. My friend Valerie McKeehan is here, and we had such an amazing conversation, and we do every single time that we speak. We've actually tried to record this podcast a couple of times and had some scheduling conflicts that still had us deep in conversation, but without time to hit the record button. So I'm sure you're going to love her. She is just a brilliant, creative, inspiring, welcoming, celebratory, sweet soul. And she's just going to make you feel happy inside and elated and up-leveled and all those good things. And I know this because I feel all those fabulous things every time I talk to her. And she is coming with her family. She's doing an extended farm stay here at the house while I go on my Normandy trip. So that's super fun also. So I'm thrilled for you to get to know her so that when you see her posting what's happening when you know I'm in France, then that will just be so fun for you to connect those dots. Let me tell you a little bit about her before I unleash this goodness into your sweet ears. Valerie McKeehan has been a full-time artist since 2012. She worked commercially with clients like Starbucks and Anthropology, published a book with Workman Publishing about hand lettering, and opened and closed a brick and mortar store before having her first daughter in 2019. After the change that 2020 and two little ones created in her world, Valerie began making art for art's sake again, exploring painting and soft pastels that led to commissioning her original art pieces and opening up her passion project, Education for Artists Who Lack the Confidence to Make the Art They Wanted to Make. She offers education, courses, and an artist membership to her community while she continues to create artwork that moves her soul. Valerie is currently based in Nashville, Tennessee, where she lives with her husband and her two daughters, living a creative life with her girls and indulging her inspirations through commissions and creative mentoring for other women on a similar journey. And she does not say this, but she is also the host of a podcast. So I know that you will love this conversation because I just had it and I loved it. So I think we are the same in that way. So please pour yourself your favorite beverage of choice for this time of day. Sit back and relax and enjoy my fun conversation with my dear friend, Valerie McKeehan. Sweet Valerie, I am so excited to have this time with you, to see your beautiful face, and to introduce you to my listeners. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I have been looking forward to this conversation, and every time I get to talk to you is just amazing. So I know this is going to be just so much fun.
You're so kind, and it's completely mutual. You know, I'm sure my listeners have this experience as well. When you meet somebody and you're talking to them for the first time and you feel like, oh my gosh, we're just friends that don't have all the details yet. Like we just need to catch up on the previous few decades and then we're all set.
It's so true. It's just instantaneous. Like, oh yeah, you just let down, like, yeah, this is what's going on. And it just feels so natural. And then such a gift when that happens. I completely agree.
I love it. And I love that it doesn't always happen. Right? Like,
Yes.
so it reminds me that, ooh, this is special. This is worth time and energy toward because it is, I feel as filled up on the other side of our conversations as I do going into them. I feel like it's this beautiful, energetic exchange that is even.
Same. Absolutely. The feeling is so mutual.
Yay, yay. Okay, so let's start with the question that I start all of these, well, when I remember all of these conversations with, and that is, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
So a couple months ago, I started The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I don't know if you've ever read it. I've gone through it.
I
It's
have
12
not.
weeks. And I told myself I knew pieces of it and I thought, I want to do it. I'm going to do these 12 weeks. So it's really been, I think, an outpouring of that, going through that experience, because for those who aren't familiar with it, it's amazing. It's for anybody, I think, who just wants to get in touch with that creative side of themselves. She tells you to do artist dates where you just take yourself out for the pure play, the pure joy of it. And there are so many exercises throughout the book where she'll have you list what are 10 things that you would be in a past life, that
Ooh.
sort of thing. So it gets your mind going, like, ooh, well, I was interested in photography at one point, or whatever it is. And something that came up for me, there were many things that came up. It was really a great experience, but I have had this twinge a couple times about taking ballet lessons. It's just really interesting. But my daughter, who is almost 5, she took ballet, and I remember being in her recital and I'm jealous. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're jealous of a 4-year-old, maybe you should pay attention to that. And I just sort of tucked that away in the back of my mind. And then with The Artist's Way and going through that, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do some of these things. I'm going to go for it and really say yes to investing in the creativity that I want to expand. And I am an artist as my profession. So I am in a lot of just creativity, and I am all about that, of course. But there was just something really cool about saying, no, creativity is expansive. It's abundant. Like the more that you use, the more that there is, the more that there is to say yes to. So I started taking ballet lessons a couple, I guess it's been a couple months now, and I felt incredibly awkward. And I mean, I was not good. I was
I don't know
not
what's
good.
happening with that. So, listeners, you can't see this, but Zoom is doing some weird thing. If you make a gesture with your hands, it lights it up on the screen, which is really fun. If you make the heart sign with your hands, it will make a
Yes.
whole bunch of hearts. But if you just tell a story about taking ballet, it gives you a big thumbs down for
Yeah,
some reason.
I
So
felt attacked.
sorry for that distraction, but I love that you're doing that. And there 2 things came up for me when you were sharing that beautiful, expansive gift that you're giving to yourself. Number 1 is that indicator of jealousy, which is such an interesting word. And typically we say, ooh, like that goes on the dark side. Like that leads to bad things or intentions or whatever. But you were able to have an awareness about it. And that's the word you assigned to it, was jealous. And I remember Kelsey Murphy saying on her podcast, Whiskey and Work, a long time ago, like when you are looking at other entrepreneurs or other businesses and you're looking at what they're doing, like whatever makes you jealous, whatever makes that, just use that as an indicator of, oh, I want that. And it's not necessarily like you want it, and in your wanting of it, you want them not to have it. Like you just, it's just more like, thank you for showing me what's available. Like I didn't realize I had a desire for that until I saw you do it, and desire was lit in me. So I love
Ah,
that.
that's
And it,
so true.
right? Like,
Yeah,
and it
I
might
love
not
that.
be ballet. It could be I remember the first time I saw Jane Webster is a woman that she's Australian. She owns a chateau in Normandy, and she does these dreamy chateau life residencies where you just go and live at her chateau for a month with her and experience all these dreamy excursions. And I found her during the pandemic, and we ended up becoming really good friends. And she co-hosted this podcast with me when I first started. She actually, she's so funny. She will tell this story also. I told her I was starting a podcast, and she suggested that we do it together. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, okay, good. Let's go on Instagram Live and tell people right now. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So
We're doing
we
it.
did that. Yeah. So that was really fun. But all to say, I was in, trying to build my business and doing all the things that you hear, and reels were relatively new, and all the coaching was saying, you have to do reels, you have to do reels. Like, I am not going to dance and point. I don't, that's not my jam. And nobody wants to see me do that. And I'm at the top of that list. And I watched Jane do a reel, and all she was doing was taking croissants off of a baking sheet and putting them on a gorgeous platter. And I thought, oh, I can do that reel. So that was the beginning of my beautiful friendship with her. So sometimes this jealousy or this awareness of a desire that somebody else has modeled for us can turn into something amazing and beautiful and long lasting and explorative and expansive, just like you're experiencing as a ballerina that's not 4 years old. I love it.
That's amazing. I want to see that reel. That's the type of reel that I'm there on Instagram for.
Totally.
But I think that's so right. And it's funny, I never thought of it that way, with having that jealousy toward my daughter, but you're so right. And I heard that recently, and maybe it was Amber Lillestrom that was saying, as a great activity, to write out a list of the maybe 4 people that you are jealous of or you have those feelings. And then she said, write out the qualities of each one and what it is that you're jealous of. And often it's those qualities that need a little more nurturing in ourselves, that
Totally.
it's something that is there that maybe we are stifling, or we're not fully stepping into our own authenticity because we're recognizing somebody else stepping into those things, and we're going, hey, I can do that, or I have that within me, but you're not exercising it. So it's a really, really good flashlight. You're right. It's not something to think, oh, I'm feeling jealous. How could I tamp that down or push that away? Like you said, a dark feeling. No, it's, ooh, let's dig into this a little bit. What is it about that is making me feel that way? I
Right.
love
And
that.
coming from a place of abundance and possibility, as opposed to lack and scarcity, where we can write in Gina DeVee's book, Audacity to be Queen, it talks about writing these cosmic thank you notes to, I mean, you could do it literally. You could actually send a thank you note to someone on Instagram that inspires you. But instead of saying, oh, like, why is she doing what I want to do? That's not fair. Or now I can't do it because she did. Like, oh my word, ladies, please. But we do. I mean, that's sometimes the internal talk, which makes a lot more sense when you keep it on the inside. When you say it out loud, you're like, oh, never mind. I actually don't think that. But instead of taking it to a darker place and being angry at this fabulous woman who's fully expressed that we actually desire to incorporate that in our own life, but writing a thank you note, writing, even just if it's in your journal or if it's in her DMs, thank you for showing me what is available to me too. Because she didn't, there's not just one chateau that you can invite people to have an immersive experience in France. Like, when I have a chateau, I'm going to invite people to do the same thing. And I don't think Jane's going to think I'm copying her, like she's the only one with that idea. I think she's going to say, I'm so excited that you love my good idea. And yay, you can do it too. I mean, that is women supporting women. And that is what we actually want. It is this lie and conditioning from a society that actually is afraid of how powerful we are when we band together. And they should be afraid because I've heard this concept a few years ago called divine feminine rising. And it's as scary as it sounds, gentlemen, because we are not messing around and we're not mad. We're not mad, but we're certain. And we have ideas about how this could be done in a way that protects our children, that loves everybody into life, and that expands on this knowing that there is enough for everybody and one person does not need to be in power. And collectively, we are a force, and we are a force for good.
So good.
Whew,
So
I didn't
good.
even know that was coming.
Preach, keep going.
Right.
It's good. I think you're right. It's we get all of this in our head that there can only be one. And it goes back to talking about how creativity is abundant. If somebody has this creative expression and they've done something that is so expansive like that, it is only going to speak to the heart of other people who that touches. And then what happens from that? It speaks to their heart, and then they want to have that natural outpouring of creation, but in their own way, because your chateau visit, your month-long, is not going to be like hers. You could even try to duplicate everything down to the letter, but it will never actually be that way. And that's what is so abundant and beautiful about it. And I think for me, in being in the art world, oh my goodness, is there scarcity and fear and this just societal feeling of, oh, just I hear that from so many people who want to be artists and they think, well, there's so many other people doing that. Why am I going to paint landscapes or whatever? There's already so many people. And it's like, no, there is room for you. There's room for everybody. And I feel like if it is touching your heart, even in that jealous way that we were talking about, if you're feeling that pang of jealousy towards something that somebody else is doing, the next question isn't, well, she's already doing it, I can't do it. The next question or the next thing to think is, because I feel this pang, there's something in there that is my expression, my own expression, and there's room for everybody.
Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, and yes. And I love the idea, the reframing of that, and that it's not us against each other. It is us collectively rising. And just that famous quote, I don't even know who said it originally, that rising tides raise all ships, and we
Yes.
can be inspired to do more and be more and listen to ourselves. And when we do that, other people are inspired by us because they're watching us live into our yes. It's so
Oh,
beautiful. Like,
it's so good.
it's so
And just
yummy.
like
I love
more
it.
beauty in the world.
Yes,
How is
please.
that? Could that be bad in any way if somebody feels so inspired and they then want to create?
Right?
They want to put more beauty into the world. And that's the world that I want to live in. Just women being inspired by each other. And like you said, lifting each other up. And just having this beautiful tapestry of even people doing the same thing. It's not going to be the same because it's
Right.
you.
Exactly. I mean, I could feel the same way about trips to France. If you look at the people that I follow on Instagram and the people whose emails I receive, I would think, whew, that is one saturated market, because 9 out of 10 emails are from a woman that is also leading curated trips to France. And I could think, oh, well, I can't even say it out loud, that they're doing it better than me, or that there's not room for me. And I just don't believe it, which is why I can't say it out loud. I love that some of those people are doing that because they saw me do it. And I'm doing it because I saw somebody else do it. And it was already in my heart, and I saw how they were doing it. And I thought, oh, well, I wanted just to bring people to Jeff. My friend Jeff is a chef and formerly trained in Paris, but never did it for profession, just for passion. He says he doesn't have the temperament to have a restaurant, because if somebody didn't like his food, he would think they were an idiot. And if somebody liked something that he wasn't happy with, he would think they were an idiot. So that's really not good human resources. He's a human resource nightmare in that aspect, but he makes magic on a plate. And he also has this odd idea that everybody knows how to do that, so it's not special, which, okay, cuckoo bird, that's fine. You could think that, but I'm going to keep telling you the actual truth. And so
The
I
voice
just
of an
wanted
artist, it
that,
sounds
right,
like.
right. Which I'm here to just shine that mirror right back on you and that light on you, saying what you make is magic, and I want to celebrate it. And so I just wanted to bring women to cook with him. And then he's outside of Bordeaux, and most flights stop in Paris. So then I thought, oh, well, I've been to Paris many times. I love it. I have kind of a routine, so I'll just put together an itinerary in Paris. And so I did that, and then I did a beta trip with my cousins. And in anticipation of that, I reached out to Jane and reached out to Molly Wilkinson, who is a pastry chef in Versailles, and reached out to Bita Hashimpur, who has a French food blog and had moved from Southern California to Paris for a year. And I just DM'd them all and said, hey, I'm going to be there in October. Do you want to have coffee? And I ended up meeting all of these beautiful women, and I had befriended Jane prior to that, but that was our first meeting in person. And I met even more women while I was there. And then I've put together all of these beautiful excursions in this week, and it's become my signature trip. And it wasn't necessarily an afterthought. It just wasn't my focus, but my creativity, my God inside of me led me to this thing that is so easy and so dreamy and ridiculously enjoyable, and such a fabulous, easy yes. I could actually not have done this of my own thinking, because I would have made it way harder and way more painful than just allowing this easy, beautiful, creative, obvious next step to put that together.
It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful to hear that, how how that all came together. And I think you're right. It's like we have this idea almost of like these plans that we want to make, and it has to go this certain way. But then it's when you actually let go and surrender and just let it be easy, let it feel good, let it be fun. And then that's when you get swept off your feet of, oh, I met this person and then I talked to this person and I DM'd this and it's just like, then it all comes together and it's like, I could not have sat down and predicted this or planned this, but it was in that letting go. And that is, to me, what ultimate creativity is. It's getting in that flow state where you are just the conduit. You are just the vessel of inputting, and you're living and breathing and walking around your life and just soaking up all of this beauty, and you're excited and you're lit up, and then you just become that vessel. And it's in the letting go that stuff starts to happen. And then you wind up with this most dreamy trip to France that who could even handle how amazing that is. And it all, like you said, it wasn't, I pushed and I had to hustle for this. I had to make it happen. And that's where I want to live. That's where I want to live with other people in that state of play and fun. And it just was synchronicity after synchronicity.
Yes, yes, and yes. And I think that a part of that is paying attention to the feelings of, for me, that trip to Paris, right? And paying attention to what does that feel like? It feels like ease. It feels like joy. It feels extravagant. It feels like a full body yes. It feels like I see myself. It feels like I'm holding space for other women that are equally excited to be there. And then identifying those feelings and then memorizing them and having those feelings when I'm not in Paris, having those feelings while I'm cleaning the chicken coop. And that is where this idea of only being available for what delights me is, that I have presence in the things that I'm doing every day. So I make decisions of how I want that to look. I love having a historic bed and breakfast on a small New England flower farm. That is super dreamy. That helps me feel alive. That makes me feel seen. That makes me feel like I see myself. It makes me feel like I see other people. I'm surrounding myself with beauty. And those are all choices that I made, that I was creating an environment that helps me feel alive and invites other people into that as well. So now I can say, whether I am cleaning the chicken coop, which again, that chore necessarily doesn't delight me, but having chickens delights me. So I know it's just a part of it. And that makes it okay. Just like love being in Paris. Do I love a red-eye flight? Not in first class? Nah, not my favorite, but it gets me to where I want to be, and that delights me. So it's having this attitude of creating those feelings that become the habit. The feeling becomes the habit, not necessarily the destination, so that the journey is actually the joy and the destination is just the launch pad for the next one, for the next journey, because the journey is the joy.
The feeling becomes the habit. I love that. Just, memorizing how you feel when you feel most like yourself, and noticing those instances. And then you can take that with you wherever you go and find that wonder and that magic anywhere, because you're the wonder, you're the magic, you're the one that somebody lit a match and you're just operating that way. somebody, I was on a trip recently, this artist trip, and there were a lot of things that went wrong with the trip, but I was like having a party. I was having the best time. I was somewhere brand new. I was looking at the trees and the colors, and it was just like, I'm having the best time. And somebody came up to me, she gave me the best compliment, and she said, I love your childlike wonder. Said, it's just amazing to see you see things. And I said, that is the best compliment to me, because that makes me feel like me, to walk around with this expectation of I'm going to have wonder and awe. And there's so many miracles, that life is a miracle. It's all a miracle. All of these commonplace things that we just experience and we maybe gloss over them, they're all miracles. And when you are just sort of turned up in that way, you can be in the chicken coop and feel those feelings because you're at home with yourself.
Exactly. And you get what you are looking for.
Yes.
What you're seeking is seeking you. Right? So
yes.
you're just recreating. If you think today is going to be the worst, guess what, Queen? Like,
Yep.
you are a fortune teller. So you can decide. I mean, even this morning I was having a conversation with Amelia, and she's not super excited about her school experience right now. And I'm duly noted, and I'm doing everything in my power to see what else is available for us. And today, there's nothing else available to us. So I allowed her to share with me everything that she's not looking forward to. And they were all things that are, on the schedule of the day. And I don't enjoy this, and I don't enjoy this, and I don't enjoy this. And I let her go through the list. And then we were able to say, okay, so sorry to hear that. I don't have control to remedy any of that. So let's see, what do we have agency over? How about, is it already decided what you're going to wear today, or do you get to decide that? She was like, I can decide. It's like, oh, okay. And you do love clothes. And she said, I'm a fashion designer. It's like, yes, you are. So can you pick an outfit that really like shows that you showed up for yourself? Like, that's one thing that you have agency over. And, she's started wearing makeup, and I don't care. Like, I don't wear makeup. So I love that she wants to, and she's figuring it out, and she likes to put it on me sometimes, and that's great. And it doesn't matter to me that she's 10. Whatever. So I said, you can do something special with your makeup today if that delights you. And she's like, oh, Mom, excuse me. I need to get up. I have some good ideas. And she leapt out of bed and went on with her good ideas. And she got to just show up in this one area that she could do. And that transformed how she sees today, because you take you wherever you go. So even if you have to go somewhere that you don't really feel like you have a lot of options around, you can create some element that shows you to yourself, I was here.
That's incredible. I love that. I love that. Yeah, she did that. And I feel like makeup is just another form of art.
Right.
It's just the expression. It's just the art. Something else I've been thinking about is the contrast too.
Yeah.
I've been talking a lot about this because I've been talking a lot about making glow and creating light in a painting. And I said, you cannot have the light without the darkness. It's not that the light is there in spite of the darkness. You actually can't have it without the dark. And I feel like the contrast too is what is going to give us that flashlight of what is in alignment. So it's another one of these, it's all a gift that if you've been in a place that you don't feel like yourself so much, or you're not in this ideal situation, just knowing that that isn't going to be wasted either, because it's in the contrast of that when you start feeling like yourself and it's like, oh, this is in alignment, this feels right, then it helps you memorize the feeling even more.
Absolutely.
And not that we want those bad things to happen or be in situations that we don't like, but at the same time, sometimes when the contrast is so great, the lesson becomes more well received. It just hits you in a way that you can never unknow it because of the contrast.
Absolutely. You know what you don't want, so you know what you want.
Totally.
Oh, I love that. I love also your commitment to the artist way as an artist, because as a person who I used to think that the only creative people were artists, and if you were an artist, that meant you were a painter. Like that was, I had a very limited definition, and I felt that since I wasn't a painter, I wasn't an artist, and since I wasn't an artist, I wasn't creative. So like that was very an elementary connect the dots situation that
so many people do feel that way.
And then I never investigated more of that. So I've heard of the artist way, and I have not read the book, and I've had some, I will now, because you're the fifth or sixth person that has mentioned it in passing, which we know there are no coincidences. So I love that even for somebody who is an artist, that you are still open to other forms of creativity, and that you come to that assignment with a beginner's mindset, and you are willing to not be accomplished ballerina before you take your first ballet class, and you're not making all of these rules that are not even real, that is keeping you from trying something new. And in that practice, you're also identifying more with your clients, with people that are joining your membership, or people that are painting with you, that you're saying, I know what it feels like to be a beginner because I'm a ballerina now. And like it's awkward until it's elegant, and you're letting yourself get in there. And I think that's so beautiful.
Well, thank you. I feel like I need a notepad here. I want to write down so many things you said. It's awkward until it's elegant. That's exactly it. It's having those twinges or those pangs, even that it was maybe jealousy or just those feelings, and that won't lead you astray. But then at that point, it's just the courage. It's just having the courage to show up and trust that, learn to trust those feelings. But you're right, it's awkward until it's elegant. I felt like the biggest idiot in my class. And for many of the classes, the instructor was coming up to me at the end saying, "Are you okay? How are you feeling?" And it's funny, there was so much that I'm learning that I can put into other areas of life. So one of the things that he told me, and I will never forget this, he said, if you try to look at what everybody else is doing, then it's going to send you out of alignment in terms of doing ballet. He said, so just when you stick the move, but then you immediately turn your head to try to make sure, am I okay? Am I with everybody else? That is what threw you out of the alignment. He said, I would rather you just be wrong and not having the move correctly, but you were like going for it. And you're not looking all around for this confirmation. And I'm just sitting there going, oh, my mind is blown.
Yes.
And he came over to me and he whispered to me when he said that whole speech, and he said, it's going to feel awkward to do that. But it's in the almost desensitizing yourself to the awkward and trusting yourself that You're going to be okay from this. It's okay giving yourself the little incremental feelings of discomfort and awkward. And then, okay, I had the courage to do it today. Maybe I can have the courage to do it tomorrow too and feel even a little more awkward. But it becomes easier and you become just assimilated to that feeling again, because you know that you are going for you. You're doing it for you. You're showing up for yourself.
Oh, I love that. And so it reminds me of, I used to host a kids nature camp, and we would be walking. I loved it. It was so fun. And one point, and we were in the woods, all the kids were together, and this tree had fallen, and they were walking on the tree, the fallen tree, like it was a tightrope. And some of them would ask, Miss Wendy, can you hold my hand? I'm afraid I don't want to fall. And I said, I will hold your hand, and I'm going to ask you, don't focus on where you don't want to go, focus on where you want to go. And as you keep your eyes on the end of this log, where you're focused is where you're going to go. And you might lose your balance, but if you do, it's because you turned your head, just like your instructor said. And it was so gorgeous to share that with them and to have them experience the truth of it, and to have me hear it, even though it was coming out of my mouth, over and over, because every child that went through would ask me, Miss Wendy, can you tell me the thing again? Only look at where you want to end up. Only look where you're going. So I even got to refine my own message as I was sharing it with them. And it's just so true. And focus is my word for the year. So I love that reminder. It's like, I can look around at what other people are doing for inspiration, but not to keep score.
Ugh. Yes, yes, yes. Just keeping your eyes on your own road, your own path, always choosing that alignment. I love that.
It's so good. And we have to live with the decision. So I remember my dad telling me that I knew exactly where we were sitting. We were at our condo in Palm Springs. We were sitting by the pool. I had just announced to him that I was calling off my wedding 52 days before the wedding date. I hadn't told my fiance yet. And he said, Wendy, I could tell you what I think you should do, but you need to make this decision because you're the one that lives with the consequences. And it doesn't matter what I think, and it doesn't matter what your mom thinks. It doesn't matter what that guy thinks, any of your friends. So you can poll everybody and do what the majority says, but they're all going to get on with their lives after they've given you their input, because people love to give advice. But you are going to have to live with this decision. And wrong is always wrong, no matter how many people are doing it. And right is always right, no matter how many people are doing it. And I have held on to that principle, and it has served me well when I've needed to make a decision. I'm, of course, like, my mind is going to 3 relationships that I ended, that one being the first, where once I became certain in my heart, the decision was made. And then I trusted myself, and I don't make the decision until I trust myself. And then we can go forward.
I have found that we do know so much more than we think we know. And we think we have to ask for all of this advice and tell me what to do. But I think often it's that we're scared.
Totally.
You're scared to know what that real alignment is.
Right. And what does it mean? And our nervous systems, our ego, our mind can only look at past evidence, right? So it's going to feel in your body, like your body's going to be freaking out, saying, do we have any evidence that she has done this and lived to tell about it? No, we don't. So mayday, mayday, mayday. And we feel like, oh, I can't make a decision because I'm not confident, and I need to wait until I'm confident and then make the decision. And what I have found, that confidence is on the other side of courage.
Yes, absolutely. And even we were saying that just taking that one first step of courage, it's just going to lead to more acts of courage as well.
Totally. And you can course correct. It's not a
Yes.
tattoo. Like, it's fine. We're actually, we do know, we do have agency. We can make decisions, and we can make mistakes. We're allowed. And guess what, ladies? You are allowed to make mistakes with money. It is a
Amen. Yes.
renewable resource, and we can, I don't want to speak generally. I have made myself feel wrong if I don't make perfect decisions with money. And that is a narrative that is not serving me, and it is not true. And I'm not going to fly that flag anymore because it's not true. I can make mistakes. And I'm so happy I was able to share that with Amelia as well. She's playing a video game. I roll my eyes because video games are not my jam. And that's something that she does with her dad, which I think is beautiful that they do that together. I would desire that that not be done here, but that's okay. She's teaching me that you can do what you want to do, and it doesn't matter how many chores there are. And apparently I need to learn that lesson because I'm being faced with learning that lesson many times. So anyway, there of course are in-app purchases, and it's associated with my credit card. And she was with her dad, and I got a notice about a charge. And so I just screenshotted it and sent her a note saying, oh, I just received this. Let's talk more about that when I see you tonight. And she wrote me right back, which again, like, why do you have your iPad before school? But okay, you're not at my house, so that's okay. But she wrote me right back and said, oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. It was a $20 charge. I'm so sorry. I'll give you $40 when I get home. I pushed a button by mistake. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. And I thought, oh my word, how did you already create this money story and the shame associated with making a mistake that you have to double the fine, when all I was asking was out of curiosity? And I just love that exchange happened so that I could respond to her, said, honey, it's okay. You are allowed to make mistakes with money, and you just need to give me $20 when I see you. And that's it. And it was just so, like, I felt like I was writing to my own inner child as I was writing to her, because it's okay. We can course correct. You can trust yourself. And on the other side of your decision, you can trust yourself to make another decision. And if you feel like you're flip-floppy, then, take a break and figure out what it is you actually do want and investigate that. And, maybe you do need some extra input at that point from someone you trust, a mentor, a coach, a therapist. But you do have all of the answers inside of you. We're just working on how to access them in a healthy, sustainable way.
Absolutely. And the mistakes are part of that contrast too.
Totally.
Sometimes you need the mistake because sometimes that mistake is going to save you from a greater mistake. You just don't know. So yeah, don't be afraid to make those mistakes. It is just going to point a flashlight. Failure is like a flashlight. And then you can course correct. And that's all. I feel like that's all this is just a series of trying something. Okay, that worked or that didn't work. And then you choose this path. It's like those those papers. Do you choose this path? Okay, circle this.
Oh,
And then the
right.
arrow
Choose
comes
your own
down to here.
adventure.
Choose your own adventure. Exactly. And that's what it is. It's all an adventure. It's all play. It's not to be held so precious and grip
Mhm.
you in fear and feeling debilitated that you can't make a move. It is knowing that regardless of the outcome of this move, I trust myself that I will be able to make the next move in the
Mm.
choose your own adventure based on this move. And you totally can. Everybody has it within them to be able to make that next move and course correct. It's all a game, really.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And it's so fun. And it's fun to play with other team members like you
Yes.
that are thinking in similar ways, and we're spurning each other on to love and good deeds and following your bliss and doing what delights you and all of these gorgeous things, which leads me to the fun thing of us getting to meet in person in just a couple of weeks. I'm so
Yes.
excited. You were so gracious to pick up what I was putting down. I felt like I had this dreamy, fabulous idea of, instead of just getting a house sitter while I travel to France, let me reach out to someone who might be interested in an artist in residency, which sounds so much more fun than house sitting.
It
So
is
you
so
are
fancy.
coming. It is fancy. And you are coming with your family, and you're doing a 2-week farm stay while I live my best life in Paris and Normandy. And I'm so excited.
When you came to me with this idea, I couldn't stop smiling. And I was just like, again, the synchronicity of it. I just thought, what did I do to get to be talking to this beautiful human being who is saying to me, why don't you come to my farm and my B&B and have this artist residency? And it just was like, I was just over the moon. So I love the idea. I am thrilled. I'm so excited. I think even when we first met, I just looked at what you were doing and I thought, she has this flower farm and she's doing and I was like, I have to meet this person. I have to talk to this person. And it was just the coolest thing that has developed into this and being able to just continue this adventure and have this experience. I cannot wait.
I can't wait. It's a total love fest, that is for sure. And I'm really excited. Of course, I'm excited for you to be here. I'm excited to hug your neck. I'm excited to have your family be here. And just, I love watching other people interact with the place that I call home. It's so beautiful. And then an up level from that, every summer I have the plein air painters from Central Massachusetts come for 2 weeks. They come 2 Mondays in a row during the summer, and they paint. And it's my favorite. I mean, they're all my favorite days. It's another one of my favorite days when I'm looking out my window and I just see easels set up all over the place.
So
And I'm
fun.
so excited to have you here because I love to see what other people see when they're looking at my space. It's so beautiful. Those 3 watercolors behind me are from a woman, Alice Trussell, who comes every year and she paints another view of the house. And then I buy her painting because it's really smart. If anyone is listening and they come here to paint, if you paint my house, I will buy it. So, so I'm just really, really thrilled to see what this place looks like through your eyes.
It's so mutually beneficial too, right? It just is one of those situations that you just know it's right and how fun. And I cannot wait to see your beautiful property in person and express that. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you. And I love that. It's the double blessing. And I say this on the podcast often, like when we're doing things together, and people are doing farm stays, or they're here for a dinner, or we're on a trip to France, nobody ever says you're welcome. It's always thank you. Oh, no, thank you. No, really, thank you. Like, no, I insist, thank you. And nobody ever says you're welcome, because it's just this love fest. It's just this circle of gratitude that is so authentic and so really overwhelming at times, that it just reminds me to be present. And in that act of presence, I am flooded with appreciation, flooded with gratitude. I cannot believe that this is my life. The life I live now used to be a dream, and now it is my reality, and I have new dreams. And when I get those, I'm going to have new dreams, because that is this creative force that created me and is also in me, that also created you and is in you. And we're just constantly creating.
And just like we were talking about at the beginning of this conversation, you doing that, you saying yes and being in that, living your dreams. I'm a prime example of somebody who saw that. It's exactly in a real example what we were just talking about. I saw that as someone who just felt so magnetized by that and what you were doing, to reach out and say, hey, let's talk. And so it's just gorgeously abundant. It's you doing that and saying yes. And for everybody saying yes, you have no idea what that is going to unlock, not only in you, but in everybody, in those around you. And what I could have never, ever predicted. This is another example of just the great adventure and the spontaneity and the synchronicity. I could have never predicted I'm going to meet this fabulous woman who is going to invite you to come to this artist residency on her flower farm and all of this dreamy stuff. But yet it was seeing your light that ignited my light. And everybody has that. It's not special to any one of us. We all have that light inside that others can just be drawn to. And who knows the beauty? Who knows the synchronicity? What's going to happen from that? It's really, really exciting.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I want to definitely have you back post artist in residency, so I can hear like how that really was for you. And then I know you're also coming back in September and staying twice as long while I'm in France, twice as long, and having the opportunity for people to come paint with you and hosting workshops, hosting retreats. And that is just dreamy dream for not only me, having somebody, I only want people that want to be here. So that's bottom line. If you do not want to be here, please do not pull up my driveway, because it's not fun for either of us. So the fact that you want to be here and that you're bringing a beautiful magic that I don't possess. I have access to it because I have access to you, but I don't possess that. So you're bringing it here. This is your home, your space for an entire month. And the women and the artists, boys too, I'm sure, are that you draw to yourself, that want to be in your magic, that never even knew about me or knew about this property or these gardens or anything. You're just unlocking something beautiful that is so, it's just this web of goodness. And how the further we pan out, the more we see how connected we all are. And there's just so much, for me, solitude and grace and safety and exhilaration in the idea that I am not alone, that I'm not doing this on my own, that I am a part of a collective, and our goal is good, and our goal is peace, and our goal is love, and love is the strongest vibration in any room.
I have chills. Yes. Yes.
It's so good. Yay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Obviously, I could talk to you all day long. Thank you so much for your time. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you when you are not an artist in residency at the Phineas Wright House.
Yes, you can find me at valeriemckeehan.com is my website. On Instagram, I'm Valerie McKeehan. And yeah, I would love to connect with you.
So fun. Okay. And friends,
Yeah.
if you are wanting to do an artist retreat of your own and you want to be under the tutelage of this master painter, then make sure you reach out to Valerie and get a spot on her September calendar before those fill up, because I am certain they will be going fast. Thank you so much, Valerie. This was everything that I wanted it to be and more.
Thank you, Wendy. Feeling is mutual. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. As always, any links or notes mentioned can be found at phineaswrighthouse.com in the podcast section of our site, or in the show notes below. And if you haven't connected with me personally, come find me on Instagram at Phineas Wright House and let me know you listened to this episode. I'd love to get to know you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I know your days are full, and I'm really grateful that you chose to spend some of your precious time right here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these delightful conversations. I'll see you next week.